The city of Washington, D.C. passed a wealth tax on high earners to pay for housing vouchers for the homeless, but it hasn't made any difference whatsoever on homelessness. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and it's going over a couple of issues that I, sort of have covered before. And one of them is the homelessness issue, and the other one has to do with housing vouchers and Section 8. Now, obviously, homelessness is a big problem, right? And people, they have different ideas for what will work to help resolve this homelessness issue. But then we have the far left-leaning progressives who believe that, hey, taxing the wealthy is the way that we're going to resolve all the problems. We'll raise all this money and basically we're going to confiscate their money and then, redistribute it. Okay, this is the same nonsense that they're always talking about. Basically, they want to make everyone else broke, so that we can all be on the same equal playing ground. It's socialism 101. But anyway, they created this wealth tax, and it was supposed to pay for housing vouchers for the homeless. And guess what? The program is an absolute failure. And they're sitting there wondering, well, why isn't it working the way we intended? Well, socialist programs never work the way they're intended, okay? Because they don't realize that, hey, people, they aren't machines. We're not going to react the way that you want us to react. Everyone is going to respond differently to different stimuli. And just because you confiscated this money doesn't mean that, the people, they're obligated to stay in your city or anything. It's a crazy situation. And the only thing they're really doing is, hurting themselves. But anyway, before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. What do you think of these wealth taxes, okay? Now, obviously, they're like, oh, we're going to tax the wealthy. But then, who they consider wealthy always seems to, just get lower and lower. And next thing you know, it's the middle class who is paying these high taxes so that, the people who aren't working at all, they have, they're getting our money. So they're taking money out of our pockets and then handing it over to these homeless people to give them free housing. I mean, this is ridiculous, okay? And if anything, that wealth tax, the only thing it's really going to do is tell the people who are the high income earners, get the heck out of Washington, D.C. City doesn't care anything about you. Why are you living there? Okay, there's plenty of better places to live where they don't tax you for the horrible crime of being successful. Oh my goodness. I hate the idea of wealth taxes. It just reeks of jealousy and envy by these politicians, okay? But anyway, let's get into this article. So this article is coming from the Washington Post, and it says, D.C. had a plan to end chronic homelessness. Why isn't it working yet? Yeah, well, let's get into it. D.C. had a plan to become the city that ended chronic homelessness. Boosted by revenue from a controversial tax increase on top earners, the D.C. Council last year budgeted millions of dollars to permanently pay for housing for the city's hardest to house residents, including those suffering from mental illness and years of homelessness. Advocates rejoiced, predicting the hundreds of housing vouchers would be enough to permanently house almost every person in long-term need in the district. Yeah, and I'm going to go over real quickly, what this program that they created was, this wealth tax, okay? And I'm going to go over to this second article, and it's coming from the DCist.com, and it says, D.C. Council gives initial approval to raising taxes on high-income residents, right? And this article actually goes through what the wealth tax is and what they were hoping to accomplish with it. So yeah, I'm going between these two articles here, but let's get into this second one. The D.C. Council granted preliminary approval today to legislation increasing the marginal tax rate on high-income D.C. residents, with funds going toward higher wages for childcare workers, housing vouchers for residents experiencing homelessness, and monthly payment to low-income families who qualify for the Earned Income Tax Credit. So yeah, the wealth tax that they planned out, right? It basically is steal from the rich, steal, that's right, because that's what it is, and then give to the poor. So earned income tax credit, you know, that's people who don't pay any taxes as it is already. Well, you're just giving them big bonuses, thousands of dollars, you know. It's a, you know, running joke with everyone who knows anything about taxes that, hey, you know, Walmart sells out of big screens when people get their tax returns. Okay. What else do they say here? Oh, housing vouchers for the homeless. That's what I'm going to be going over today. And higher wages for childcare workers. So, yeah, they basically decided, hey, we're going to tax the rich and, you know, take their money and we're going to give it over here to these other causes or whatever, right? My logic, though, says that, hey, unless this wealth tax covers the entire country, then the wealthy people are just simply going to move. Okay, there's no reason for them to stay there. I was over there in DC just maybe about 6 months ago, and hell, Alexandria, Virginia is beautiful. I would move there. I mean, that's not in the city limits of DC. I don't think they have a wealth tax there. So if you want to be close by but not have to deal with the wealth tax, maybe you should just move over there. So let's see here. They actually have a chart here on this article that says how much the taxes are going to be increasing for the wealthy, right? And it says income level, right? So people who make $300,000, they get a 0.125% increase. Over 500,000, a 0.3% increase. Over $1 million, 0.65%, and $1.5 million, a 1%. So yeah, that for somebody who makes $1.5 million or more, I mean, they say if you make a $1.5 million, then the increase, the monthly, or the I'm trying to see here what it's trying. Oh, okay. So yeah, the monthly increase, wow, is about $15,500 a month extra that you're going to be paying. That's insane. Okay, that's a lot of money. And you know, like, I'm one of those people who watches the Nomad Capitalist, go where they treat you best. Okay, and you know, these cities, they believe that, oh well, we offer so much that you'll never be able to have the same quality of life that yeah, you know, there's plenty of places I can go and not have to deal with your garbage. Okay, even within the same metro area. I mean, we're talking about, they got, you know, Virginia and Maryland there. You know, they've got DC. You know, there's a whole ton of suburbs, dozens of them. And so you got multiple states, multiple suburbs. You know, I believe you can even commute from West Virginia and get to the DC area. So you can't tell me that, hey, these people who make these large sums of money, they're not going to be looking at their options and being like, hey, you know, I can be taking home a lot more money if I just move myself over here to this other jurisdiction. Okay? Man, what a joke all of this is. And to support this Section 8 housing thing, that, you know, just the program completely failed. So let me get back to the first article in the Washington Post. And oh man, it looks like it's behind a paywall. Of course, right? And you know, the ridiculous part of, you know, when you're trying to put these videos together is sometimes they work on my phone and then, you know, I get on my tablet and they don't work. So I'm not going to be paying for this article, but I had already read a little bit about it, right? And basically what they're running into is the housing market within Washington, D.C. is hot. Okay, it's super hot. And for that reason, the landlords, when they're choosing tenants, they're not going to be choosing a Section 8 tenant over somebody who makes better money. And they're going to be demanding top dollar for their rentals. So the Section 8 tenant, it's a hard battle for them to be able to find landlords who will rent to them, whether they have a law in place or not that says that landlords have to take Section 8 tenants. It doesn't matter, okay? it's still going to be an uphill battle for them to find landlords who are willing to rent to them with Section 8 vouchers. So a lot of landlords are not accepting the vouchers. Plus, there's a very limited amount of housing stock that's available just because the market is so hot right now. And the result is, I believe it's less than a quarter of all the vouchers that they gave out have, a quarter of the people who've been received vouchers through this program have actually been able to find housing. Okay, now I don't have the exact stats because they got all this blocked on the paywall, but this is the same stuff I've been talking about for quite a while. Basically, these Section 8 vouchers, it isn't the solution they think it is, okay? And this wealth tax that they try to propose, it isn't the solution they thought it was going to be. All it really is a confiscation of people's money, and, I'm 100% opposed to it. And I'm not a libertarian. I'm not one of those people who believes that, government should be so tiny and there should be no taxes. I believe, that government does need to have enough size and enough, power to be able to get things done, especially for a country of 300 million plus people, okay? But I do believe that there's a ton of waste, and we need to get rid of a lot of that waste right now. So yeah, the whole topic, it's quite interesting. I don't like the fact that they tried to pass this wealth tax. This is the same kind of stuff that they're trying to pass nationally, and this stuff, it doesn't work, okay? The homelessness issue is not going to be resolved by passing wealth taxes on people who they deem to be wealthy.